People are often asking me, what's the best shoe to wear for my foot health? Well, a recent study took a group of people and measured their toe flexor strength. Then they placed them in barefoot shoes for a period of time and measured their toe flexor strength again. And their toe flexor strength increased by 57% by being placed inside a, quote, barefoot shoe. Now, what is a barefoot shoe exactly? I figured I'd go ahead and show you what I consider a barefoot shoe. I think a barefoot shoe is something that you can fold up, that provides you enough protection that you aren't stepping on nails and aren't getting injured, but doesn't interfere too much with the normal function of the foot. Now, there's a lot of brands out there that will claim to be barefoot shoes, claim to be zero drop, and claim to be barefoot, but aren't. So I think the fold-up test is generally a good one. So these are splay shoes. They're more a casual brand, but they're starting to expand out into running shoes and different things. So splayshoes.com, shout out to them. This video is not sponsored by them. This is an old pair of loafers I essentially have. And these are from Soft Star shoes made in Eugene, Oregon. These are also totally foldable. I've worn these for 7 years now. The tread is starting to wear. Needs to be sewn up here, but these are super comfortable. If you shine them up, you can get away with wearing them as dress shoes, which I've pulled off, much to the chagrin of my wife. This is like a newer pair of the same thing. You can see the tread is a lot less worn out there. But I bought these black ones in case I needed another pair of dress shoes because they're super comfortable. And I always stick a sheepskin lining in them, which can get a little hot in the summer. I don't recommend wearing these in the summer, but during the winter, they're fantastic. And I can take these in the snow, granted if the snow's not too deep. In fact, when I go snowboarding, I will stick a pair of these in my backpack so that my feet can get a break from snowboarding. Because if you've ever skied or snowboarded, you know how like totally trashed your feet get by the end of the day. So I give my feet a midday break by sticking in those. Older pair of shoes that I used to wear Lems a lot. These are still a great pair of shoes. They're made in Colorado. Again, they passed the folding test. They're very mobile and they're very lightweight. They've got a bunch of different styles now. These are old. These are like circa 2020 probably. Another pair of Lems, another type of Lems. They have a boot, and these boots also pretty much pass the folding test. They're very flexible. On all these shoes, I tend to put elastic laces on because I really don't want to waste my time tying shoes. In these, I've also put a sheepskin lining because I was wearing these out in, I think in the snow at one point. Even more minimalist, perhaps the most minimalist type of shoe is one of these crazy barefoot sandals. This one has a copper grounding plug, so it's super hippie if you want to be a hippie like that. But they're made locally here in Sonoma County by a company called Earth Runners. I met the guy, Mike. He's an engineer and hippie nerd, and he makes awesome pairs of sandals, which are actually really great. If you ever read the book Born to Run, a sandal like this, these Mexican Indians run hundreds of miles in sandals that are less techy than this. And then another shoe, sort of a workout shoe, has a little bit of a heel raise. These I consider sort of my like hiking shoe. These are just Reebok CrossFit Nanos. They have a 2mm heel rise, which can be good for certain weightlifting movements like the back squat to have a little bit of heel rise. But I mostly like them just because they're durable and they don't really pass the fold them up test. And these are passing more so because or almost passing because I've worn the sole so thin. So I like to have a variety of different shoes for different occasions, and that's sort of an overview of all my shoes and what I consider a barefoot shoe. If I had to rank them right now, I would say my favorite is splay shoes, just because barefoot shoes can run a lot of money, and splay is quite a bargain right now. So I would recommend splay over the other brands, but Lems is very good. Vivo Barefoot is another great brand. I don't have a pair of Vivos anymore. They burned up in a fire, but I like them a lot. I just haven't been able to drop $150 on them. They're just way out there and expensive. Otherwise, I really like, probably my favorite shoe although it is quite expensive, is those Softstar moccasins. I think they're like $160, and then you got to spend a little extra on the inserts, the sheepskin inserts. But those are probably my personal favorite. I just can't wear them all the time because it gets hot out here in Santa Rosa during the summertime. But during the winter, they're my go-to. More generally, on the topic of barefoot shoes and toe flexor strength, there is a very strong correlation with hand grip strength and longevity. And the reason hand grip strength and longevity are associated is because if you fall down a set of stairs, you can catch yourself if you have high grip strength. I would argue that there is probably a similar metric, it just has not been studied, for toe flexor strength. That is, if you have high toe flexor strength and you have strong feet, you are less likely to fall in the first place, and that your longevity is probably positively associated with toe flexor strength. Furthermore, the foot forms the basis, the structure of everything that happens above it, especially your knees. And these are the next sort of adjacent structure that the foot can absorb forces for. So think about that when you're choosing your shoe. Does it pass the roll-up test? If it passes the roll-up test, it is a barefoot shoe, in my opinion. And you don't want to transition from a very supportive shoe to a barefoot shoe super quickly because you could injure yourself. So I recommend doing it gradually, a couple hours a day or one day a week. You could gradually introduce them into your life however slowly you want, but the idea that our foot should never hurt or never be sore is kind of silly, because after we go to the gym and we work out, we are sore and we hurt. The purpose of that is for our body to adapt and respond and become stronger. Hope this video helped you. Till next time.